Has this ever happened to you? Phone rings and the voice on the other end of the line says, Hey, John, just calling to make sure you're going to be there tomorrow morning. And as you fumble around trying to load your calendar, in the back of your mind, you're saying, Beware, and then oops. Happened to me Thursday evening. I'd made a commitment to attend a networking event in a city adjacent to the one I live in, about an hour drive, and added about 15 minutes to that because I really wasn't familiar with where the venue was. And the person I'd made the commitment to was a client of mine who had been asking me for weeks. It was a one-shot deal, sponsored by their Chamber of Commerce, and you got to bring a guest one time, and after that, they needed to join the chamber. So I got up bright and early Friday morning, and I'm going to tell you, I was hoping all kinds of stuff had happened. I was hoping when I booted up my phone, there was a text message from my client saying, Hey, John, something came up. I'm not going to be able to make it. So sorry. Let's try again next week or next month. Nope, nothing like that happened. Well, there were about 100 people at the networking event. And if you paid the price to buy 100 people breakfast, you got 15 minutes of fame. Your company or organization had the opportunity to stand in front of the group of people and talk a little bit about what they did. By the way, it was a good breakfast. The organization that presented on Friday was the general manager of a facility that primarily took care of folks in memory care. That's the appropriate term today for Alzheimer's disease. She went on to talk about the things they did, and as she did, my mind kind of tumbled back. My mom has Alzheimer's. She's in a memory care facility 400 miles from where I live. I talk to her on the phone a couple times a week, but I haven't seen her since November. Thank goodness for my two sisters who see her 2 or 3 times a week. And so I listened to the director talk and I thought, in all the times I've called the facility my mom lives at, I've never taken the opportunity to thank those people for taking such good care of her. So when she finished her presentation and I stood by at an appropriate distance, waited for the crowd to thin out, I walked up to her and smiled and said, I'd like to give you a surrogate thank you. She got kind of a quizzical look on her face, and I said, well, my mom's in a memory care facility. And as a matter of fact, she'd been in one prior to that where she fell down and broke her hip and laid there for a while before they came and got her and took her to the hospital. And I said, I'm just very, very grateful that there's people like you out there who invest their time, make it part of their passion to take care of those folks. And she looked at me and she said, thank you. She said, it's really difficult to do my job some days because there's never a positive outcome. People with Alzheimer's don't get better. She said, I appreciate you taking the time to do that. You have no idea what that meant to me. And so we finished the round robin networking, and I got in the car and I went home. Didn't make any real contacts that might blossom into business. As far as I know, nobody's going to read my blog or look at my webpage. And it dawned on me about halfway home that maybe the reason I was supposed to be there was simply to let the director of that memory care facility know that what she did and what her staff did were appreciated and valued. And so the little placard I posted as a trailer, maybe God did give me one more day just so I could let somebody else know what they did was of value and of worth. So how about you? How about you kick your week off in a positive way? And maybe the person who gets you your coffee in the morning, sells you your newspaper, The very, very little things, the people who go unnoticed and unappreciated, take a few minutes. Tell them you appreciate what they do. It'll mean the world to them. Honestly and sincerely, I really wish I could have took a snapshot of the look on that person's face when I thank them for everything they did. So you have a great week. And by the way, I'm really grateful for you. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next Monday. Have a good week.